What's up, y'all?
What's up? I think I was big yawning right when we came on, and I was like,
Are
okay,
you?
we're live. Yes. What's up? What's up? Welcome, welcome. We missed y'all last week. Hope everyone had a wonderful Thanksgiving.
Yes.
We're back in full effect. Everybody's still, some people probably still eating turkey and dressing.
I
But,
literally just told her that. That's
but
hilarious.
hey, we back. We back. Dope Sports Chicks, Adele Nicole, the Lioness, and
Arlita Nicole, the quirky queen herself, Chi-Town, born and bred, Texas fed.
what's
What's
up?
up, y'all? So, yes, happy belated Thanksgiving. And let's just get on in there with the football talk and everything else. First of all, how about them Cowboys?
Let's go. Let's go.
Okay, like
All
for
the
real.
haters.
Did we beat the Minnesota Vikings, who's like the second best record in the league by what? 40 to
Let's
3. That's
let's
37
go.
points. That's a complete blowout. So for all of the haters who had doubts about my Dallas Cowboys going up against number 2 team in the league, you already know, you already see. We have proven ourselves. I don't know how much more y'all want from us, but it is what it is. And I'm grateful, I'm thankful. Like, whoo, we got past the Thanksgiving game. And
Jesus.
honest with you, like our schedule going forward looks kind of good. And then we have our Christmas Eve game, Sadell, with the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yes.
So that game with the Eagles is the big game, especially for the NFC East that everybody is waiting for. As far as the NFC East is concerned, y'all, this has not happened like where potentially all of the NFC East teams could be in the playoffs. That's crazy bananas to me, but that is absolutely like a real thing that could happen. So
And it's crazy because we're so used to being the worst division.
for real, like to the point where everybody calls us the NFC least. Not no more. Okay, that is not the case. Not anymore. So y'all already know, yes, the Eagles are 10-1, blah, 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 blah. That ain't gonna last forever, right? Our Cowboys are now 8-3, but the Giants are 7-4 and the Commanders are 7-5. So when we are stacked back to back, as far as the Cowboys, the Eagles, and the Commanders go in our division. But because of that, the rest of the NFC, like the NFC North is like the Vikings got that. We know that, right? And then as far as the South, like the NFC South just looks crazy ugly. For instance, the Tampa Bay Bucks are 5-6 and the Falcons are 5-7.
Yeah.
And then there's the Panthers and the Saints. They're only one game behind. How
Yeah.
horrible is
The
that?
NFC South is the worst division.
It is. I don't know, Sadell, because well, they are.
They're the worst division in the league right now,
Yes, and
record
then
wise for sure.
with the NFC West, the 49ers are 7-4, and the Seahawks surprisingly are 6-5. But we already been talking about the Seahawks. Y'all already know. And says we went from NFC least to NFC beast. Yes, we did. Absolutely, we did. And so going back to the Cowboys beating the Vikings, y'all. First of all, there's so much to say about this game. But Sadell, because the game was almost a week ago, I'm just going to give you a couple stats. Hey, Benji. Hey, William. Okay, so check this out, y'all. Tony Pollard and Ezekiel Elliott both had 15 carries. Both of them had 15 carries, but Pollard had 80 yards to Zeke's 42 yards, right? Both of them had 2 touchdowns, but Tony Pollard had receiving touchdowns. Can you guess how many receiving yards Tony Pollard, the running back, had? 109. 109. Did he have over 109 receiving yards. Okay, so where did that put our number one receiver, CD Lamb? He was 5 receptions for 45 yards, and Noah Brown was 2 receptions for 42 yards. And then it's like all of our tight ends, because now we got like a whole tight end
Right.
tandem going on with Hendershot and Ferguson, and of course Dalton Schultz. So legit, at this point in the season, you see Tony Pollard's numbers, you see Zeke's numbers. Tony Pollard this week against the Vikings was our number one receiver and our number one running back. The Vikings, our defense, sacked the Kirk Cousins 7 times. They punted 7 times.
Yeah.
They were 1 for 11 on their third downs, which is huge, which is why they had to punt as many times as they did. Y'all, our defense played, our offense played, but Sadell, I'm telling you now, I'm feeling a little some kind of way about Tony Pollard being a free agent this next upcoming summer. I don't like it one bit. And I'm like, whatever we got to do, keep him. What do you think about that?
I agree. I hope we'll still be able to keep both. Even though he has more yardage, I still feel like there's a place for Zeke. I feel like hopefully there's a way that, we can keep both of them because, now, is this stock continuing to rise? Every week, every week.
Every week.
But I hope that we can keep him. I hope that we do whatever we can to keep him. I think, Marcus says they better pay that man. They better pay that man.
Yes, Marcus.
They have to. They have to.
Yes, we should absolutely pay him. And let me tell you something too. This is what's frustrating about this whole hey T.
Hey.
Our super producer. What's up, y'all?
What's up, Miss T?
Okay, so absolutely we keep Tony Pollard, but we got to find a way to keep Tony Pollard. I don't know what it's going to look like in the offseason, but like Sadell said, we got to figure that out. We got to figure out a way to keep him. And so on the flip side of that, one of the biggest things that's been in the news about the Dallas Cowboys as of late has been the whole idea of us getting Odell Beckham Jr. and kind of having him as, I guess, a number one receiver. But we know he came off of an injury, ACL tear after the Super Bowl last season. And usually after an injury like that, it takes them a while to recover. And I'm not sure. We haven't seen Odell Beckham Jr. play this season. I don't know what he looks like. I don't know if anybody knows what he looks like. But do you think that he is a number one receiver, would be a number one receiver for our team? And should we go after him? And do we need him?
All of that. All of that. I think we do need him. I think we need another receiver. I do think he still is until he shows us something different. And I'm sure they're going to take him through workouts and do whatever. But, Michael Gallup is kind of starting to get his groove back a little. He came out extremely timid and, if there was any kind of contact, it was guaranteed he was not catching the ball, not even attempting to catch it. That was pretty much it. He has shown a little bit more, ladies. Girl, she make me sick.
I know.
Since I'm here, let me let y'all know.
Right.
But I just feel like we do have a good tight end core. Mason Witten did a lot of justice for a long time, so I'm not necessarily against that, but I do feel like we need something in tandem to CD, and Odell is just, he's a tremendous athlete. Like, he's just a different dude. And I would like to think that he's, recovered and done all the things that he's done. But I just, so Marcus, I don't really get that. I don't get T.O. vibes with him. Like, I don't either. I don't. And we kind of we talked about it a little earlier before we got on, as far as him getting kicked off the plane. And I don't know if you saw any of the footage or even the things when people were talking about it. He really didn't do anything. I mean, he may have been, like we talked about earlier, he was just asleep. He may have been passed out. He may have had a hangover. He may have been whatever, but he wasn't disruptive. He wasn't, you know, in any way causing a scene or anything. He was just like, hey, what's going on? He didn't have a seatbelt on. I mean, it was just, and I think they made a big deal out of it because he was who he was, and that he was not responsive and he was this. But even without alcohol, if I'm asleep, I don't know. I mean, I might seem a little non-responsive. I might wake up crazy, you know? So I don't think the plane thing is necessarily an issue, because I feel like they made a big deal out of it. And even with him, because if you go back to a TO, Odell went on and he was like, never in my life have I experienced anything like this. That's what he said on Twitter. TO would have wrote a whole essay about, you know what I'm saying? It could have gone a different way if Odell had made his social media a different way, but he didn't really specifically say anything about it. He was just like, this is crazy. I can't believe that just happened. So I don't necessarily get the whole T.O. diva vibes, but again, we don't know him, and, you know, we just kind of got to see, but I do feel like we do need another receiver.
I don't necessarily look at Odell Beckham Jr. as just drama like that. Because I think drama is breaking laws and bringing negative attention to your team. And I think what he does is, like, he's young, he parties, he has a good time, he's a superstar, you know, and I think he lives with that celebrity within him. And to me, that's totally different than breaking laws and being disruptive and causing scenes. That was not him on the flight. So that, I don't even think the flight getting kicked off was drama. I don't think anything like that. But I don't feel like he is the player that we need right now, just as far as a receiver goes. We do need another receiver, like Sadell said, you know, to go hand in hand with CeeDee Lamb, especially if in the times when CeeDee Lamb is double covered, then it'd be great to have another receiver available. However, right now that receiver is Tony Pollard, and that's just what it is. And I know you're talking about Michael Gallup, but we have not seen explosive Michael Gallup since pre-injury. And that makes me a little nervous about him. And I actually have him on one of my fantasy teams, and I'm scared to start him every week, because regardless of the fact, like, he doesn't go off, you know, he might get a couple of catches, but like, that's it. He's not scoring touchdowns. He's not getting separation. Like, our receivers don't get separation like that, except for like Tony Pollard. It's like when he does get the ball passed to him, he's wide open, because nobody is expecting them to use Tony Pollard like that. So offensively, I have seen a change in how we swing offensively. Whatever Kellen Moore is doing, he's actually, now we see that he's trying to be a little bit more creative. And to me, it's working. But as far as coaching goes, I know you have not been the biggest Kellen Moore fan. So where do you see our offense right now?
I mean, I hope that we stay, but I feel like the last couple of weeks we found a good mix of run and pass, a good mix of Zeke and Tony Pollard, a good mix of even Dak running the ball some. You know, I feel like we've kind of gotten a balance in there, you know, some kind of formula that seems to be working right now. And though Zeke is just kind of the big back guy that's getting the short yardage plays, and it seems to be working. You know what I'm saying? Even if Tony Pollard ends up being the primary back, right? When we need to move the chains, Zeke is going to be the one that's going to be put in. If we're third and short,
third and short, that's Zeke.
Zeke is going to move the chains. Like he's not necessarily explosive as he has been in the past, but he's still very strong.
Yes.
And he runs more low to the ground. You know what I'm saying? Like he's able to push the pile a little bit more than a lot more, to be honest, than Tony Pollard as far as moving people. And so I feel like we've just kind of found a mix with that. And even though Tony Pollard had as many 50,000 yards or whatever, they got the same amount of touches. They got the same amount of scores. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I just feel like, I hope we've found a good balance for that.
I hope so too. So going forward, for this game Sunday night against the Indianapolis Colts, and Jeff Saturday and the Indianapolis Colts, do you have any concerns or worries?
Other than, they beat us before. I just feel like if we do what we're supposed to do, we shouldn't have problems with them. Mm-hmm. I don't think that the one thing that they're probably going to try to do, which is going to be interesting to see how we handle, is they're going to probably try and shut down our run game.
Of course.
And we kind of have to run, right? Our offense is centered around us getting yards on the run. And so, absolutely. That's probably my one concern, is making sure that we can still effectively run the ball. And, but yeah, no, definitely on the defensive side, Ann says Coach game will be a sack fest. Now, defense, I don't know. I don't know he's going to get killed. I don't know that he's going to see much daylight at all. But I'm just saying from an offensive perspective, just seeing if we can maintain the balance that we need.
Okay. Well, come on, Cowboys. Let's get another win. And look, go into December starting off strong, because we already know, look, we made it through November, and everybody always talks about November and December, especially November, but we made it through November. Let's get through December, y'all. So, okay, moving forward, Sadell. Okay, I just want to put this out there, y'all, that the Seattle Seahawks are 6-5, and the Denver Broncos are 3-8. Why did I even say that? Why? Because Russell Wilson. I don't know what's going on with Russell Wilson. I have had conversations, like, no lie, over the last month. Like, y'all know what's going on with Russell Wilson? Do you know what's going on with Russell Wilson? Was it something going on in Seattle? Is it something going on in Denver? Like, what is it? I have no clue, but what I do know is, like, it's so bad they got flexed off of Sunday Night Football. Like, and that was with a game against Kansas City. Like, Patrick Mahomes can't be on Sunday Night Football because of Russell Wilson. Like, that's bad. That's really, really bad. But even then, like, offensively, Denver has not been able to do anything this season. Like, and I keep seeing so many memes, et cetera, et cetera. Like, Russell Wilson has looked like a shell of himself. And I'm not exactly sure. Like, I can't put my finger quite on it. I got a lot of different ideas. But Sadell, do y'all know? Somebody tell me what the heck is going on with Russell Wilson definitively. Like, I want to know.
I mean, I don't know exactly what's going on with him, and it's disappointing to me. It's almost like he's got in this diva thing, for one, and yes. he went there with this arrogant thing. I mean, this dude got paid $4.6 billion. No, I'm tripping. He got paid
billion.
No. So they paid $4.6 billion. So what I was going to say, so the new ownership group paid $4.6 billion for the Broncos, and now they stuck with this dude with his 5-year contract. And so I don't know how you get out of a $250 million contract. Like, they have no salary cap, and I mean, at the time, I thought he was worth that contract.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so now it's like he's losing his locker room on both sides of the ball because the defense, I mean, god dang, the defense is literally
out.
They get no break. You know what I'm saying? They are constantly on the field.
3 and out.
And they were talking about how one of the defensive tackles went off on him on the sideline because that's all they do. They have to carry everything. They get no rest. Like they get out, even if they get a takeaway, they're off and they going right back in the game because he can't move the ball. But part of it, to be honest, when you get in this diva mode, which he for whatever reason seems to be in, you don't relate well to the people.
No.
You know, and so your teammates are not. And when you have somebody like Dak, who his receivers love, his defense loves, like they love it when he's on the field, then they fight a little harder for you. You know what I'm saying? But Russell seems to have just lost both sides of the ball. And I mean, I can't even imagine what it's like with him being in the locker room because we saw what's happening on the sideline during the game. Who the freak knows what's happening in the locker room? So I don't know. I mean, it's very disappointing to see. I hate that. I mean, they lost a lot to get him.
They did the draft picks. That's what Chris said earlier. He said Sierra's wearing his ass out. So
might be because golly,
I don't know what was going on in Seattle, but it did. From a fan's point of view, me, somebody who loves football and watching from the outside looking in, was like, oh, well, then clearly Russ just can't be himself in Seattle. They're not putting the right personnel around him, the right people on the field around him. He doesn't have good receivers. He doesn't have good O-line. He doesn't have this. He doesn't have that. Maybe it's Pete Carroll. And I'd be dogged on. As soon as he gets traded, it's not Pete Carroll. It's not the offensive line. It's not the receivers. It ain't even Geno Smith. So if you take away all of those things, who was the issue? It was Russell Wilson in Seattle. And now I'm like, did you bring your issues, that arrogance, that ego, that whatever you had going on in the locker room from Seattle to Denver? And people in Denver were really looking forward to having him there.
Well, the other thing, when he was in Seattle, and we used to talk about all the time how his line wasn't blocking for him as much and he was running for his life.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't really run anymore. You know what I'm saying? No. It's like he wants to just be a pocket passer. Yeah. He changed his game, which I'm sure didn't go with the scheme. That's not what they were expecting. They were expecting, because Russ literally put that team in Seattle on his back and made some plays that they would not have been able to make had he not willed them to some of those wins. Because, and I agree, he doesn't have everybody, but he didn't have everybody in Seattle, and he played like he still wanted to win. Right now, he's not playing like I care whether or not we win. You know what I'm saying? It's like he's looking for excuses. And I agree, they don't right now have any top named receivers. However, he didn't have a whole lot last year in Seattle. He didn't. His line wasn't blocking for him as much. And I just feel like he pushed himself through a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know.
Are y'all hating on Cortland Sutton? Are y'all just not gonna get this man like any type of credit?
No, but I mean, not even that. But I'm just saying, like, I just feel like regardless of what he has, it would be different if he was playing like Russ. He's not. Regardless of the receiving core or whatever, he literally ran for it is one of the deepest divisions, but that still shouldn't change his style of play, and that's what he's done. Yeah. He's trying to sit in the pocket and act like he's Tom Brady. And I'm not saying that he doesn't have a great arm, but he's not Tom Brady. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. His style of play is different, and that's what has kind of set him apart over the years. But he's the one I feel like has taken that back.
Yeah, it's gonna be super interesting going forward, especially now that we know who he really is. We know that he's robotic. All of his answers are very political. And I don't necessarily feel like when he does answer politically that he takes accountability for where the Denver Broncos are right now. And someone said earlier, Barron said, this is first year in Denver. Yeah, this ain't his first year as a daggone NFL quarterback, though. Like, I traded for him not for this to happen. This shouldn't be happening in Denver at all, even with all of the injuries, because let the truth be told, is plenty other teams that have battled injuries throughout this season, and they have dealt with personnel changes, and they still are able to compete on the field still. And so I'm just like, so Chris says, how much of the blame goes to the head coach?
I think a portion of it goes to the head coach primarily because, to me, regardless of whether Russ wants to be a pocket passer, we know that Russ is more effective whenever he's on the move, because that's what happened in Seattle. There was a time in Seattle when he just kind of wanted to chill in the pocket, but it didn't work. It didn't work for a couple of reasons. For one, Russ is like 5'10". And so a lot of times he can't see over his linemen. And I remember when he was in Seattle, I remember him saying that when they were asking him why he missed a certain receiver, he was like, because I couldn't see him. So when he's on the run and moving, it opens up his passing game. But
we're not saying that. We just said, yes, coaching does deserve a part of the blame, but absolutely Russell Wilson has a big portion to do with that as well. But we do have to move on real quick. Just a couple other things for the NFL so Sadell could get to the other sports news. The Ravens lost to the Jaguars. This was their third loss this season when they were leading by multiple scores in the fourth quarter. And somebody took to Twitter and called Lamar Jackson out. Then Lamar Jackson got back on Twitter and went off on him. Then the tweet magically got deleted. Y'all, I don't know what's going on with, like, the Ravens is one of the teams that injury, like from the QB to the receivers, their running backs. The Ravens constantly have to move around and shuffle people in their lineup because of injuries. And Lamar Jackson usually, like, does what you just said Russ did in Seattle, put the team on his back, and usually he's the best rusher on the team. But I'm just not sure that, like, okay, this is my question, and all of y'all answer this. Has Lamar Jackson reached his ceiling? Has he? I don't know, but has he reached the ceiling?
I don't know that he's necessarily reached his ceiling. I mean, he's just, right now, Lamar is really just trying to do whatever he can to win, however it comes. And unfortunately, right now, he pretty much takes it all upon himself. And I think that's probably the thing that gets him the flack, because it's like he doesn't trust his arm or he doesn't trust his receivers, one or the other. And you're not going to be able to consistently over years run your way into I don't know, Barron. I wouldn't say he's average. I would definitely say he's above average. I mean, even though I wouldn't say, and it's crazy because would I say he's probably an average-ish QB? Because when you think of what a QB is supposed to do is, they're supposed to make more passes and not be the leading rusher on their team. You know what I'm saying? But I wouldn't say he's average. I mean, he's definitely above average. Like, he puts his team in positions to win at all costs. He does what, and I think a lot of people don't agree with it, but it seems like he trusts his legs more than he trusts his arm and more than he trusts his receivers. And so I think that's where he gets the negativity and the drawback with him being a QB. But I don't know.
So Chris did ask, he said Lamar Jackson is Kaepernick, and he did ask, does Lamar Jackson deserve more money than Russell? Lamar Jackson should definitely get paid. And I would say too, if I'm the Ravens personnel, show me something this season. And the Ravens as a team look kind of average, mediocre to average. And it's they have talent. They have talent and on all sides of the ball. So I don't know what's really not gelling, if it's really Lamar Jackson putting the team on his back and not trusting his arm and using his legs too much. I'm not sure. But anyhow, y'all, Justin Fields got hurt. He got a separated shoulder for one. And then so what happens after your number one QB goes down? You got to go second string. In the daggone warm-ups, the second string gets hurt.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Like, gosh, Chicago can't catch a daggone break. But I do hope that Justin Fields gets healthy quick, fast, in a hurry. I did end up drafting him in Dope Sports Chics Fantasy League. And then I did just want to point out that Aaron Rodgers got hurt. He's been hurt with this broken thumb, but now we don't know if he punctured his lungs, had some type of rib injury, but regardless, Jordan Love came out and was like, I'm ready. I've been trying to tell y'all I was ready.
Right.
Go Jordan Love.
Yeah.
And right now, Sadell, for the rest of the season, you going with Aaron hurt, or you gonna go with young and healthy, ready to play Jordan Love?
Yeah, so that's gonna be tricky, but Jordan Love was like, let me show y'all why y'all drafted me. And let me show y'all. He came out there fired up and ready. I do feel like we haven't seen enough. I mean, they're still going to put Aaron in when he's exactly. He was only out there a little bit. I mean, he didn't get much heat, you know what I'm saying? So even though he came out fired up and ready, we really still don't know. I mean, there's a lot that could happen in a full game. And I don't know that he's there, but you know.
Right. Hey Nick, hey Daddy. I saw we just been rolling. So look, this is gonna be super interesting. I hope that they give Jordan Love a chance, especially while Aaron is out hurt. Like, we have seen Aaron win games in the fourth quarter with one leg. We have seen it. We've talked about it before.
We felt it.
We felt it. We felt it. You know,
right.
He owns us in Dallas, just like he owns Chicago too. But he don't own the daggone Philadelphia Eagles. Well, I tell y'all that ticked me off, like, dang. But I'm all.
But Jalen Hurts is balling. Like, they literally could not stop him. They tried to stop the run, and he throwing like bombs. They come up on him, he's gone. They can't contain that dude. He in a different mode right now.
Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, Justin Fields. I'm missing somebody. Those quarterbacks have like the more rushing yards than they daggone running backs. That's bananas to me. That is bananas. And let the truth be told, Dak using his legs a lot more than we
is. But see, I feel like that helps our running game.
Yeah.
Because when he's doing that zone read and everybody knows he's not going to run the ball, then all they got to do is key on the running back. But now when he's keeping it, that opens up a little bit.
Yeah. So okay, just one last question. We're gonna move on because Sadell. Okay, you criticized my quarterback last season for not calling audibles, not reading plays, defense, doing this, doing that. Sadell, Dak is calling audibles. He's changing plays. He's he's reading defense. What you got to say about that?
What you want me to say? Like, what are you talking about?
I mean, I want you to acknowledge him.
I mean, I'm just saying, okay, he is doing better, but I'm just saying that's an expectation. Like, this is like my kids coming saying, hey, I got all straight A's. So what you supposed to do? What are you supposed to do? That's your job. You have one job, go to school, get A's. Stop. So I'm just saying, he's an NFL quarterback. He's supposed to know how to read defenses. He's supposed to be able to make adjustments at the line. I mean, right?
As the official Dak ambassador, Dak, good job, bro.
Wow, he said Dak is a black Jimmy G. I disagree with that. I disagree with that.
Chris.
I disagree with that. They're not the same. They're not the same.
He called him the check down. The check down king, that's Josh Allen. But don't do Dak. Don't do Dak is the black. Jimmy G is a backup quarterback. Dak is not that. But Jimmy G is showing out.
Hey, the thing that Jimmy G is doing is not losing the game. You know what I'm saying? Yes. It ain't like he winning the game, but he's not losing the game. He not hurting them. He keeping them in a position to win. And that's all they expect him to do. And
that the 49ers are going to look horribler next season when Trey Lance gets healthy and comes back. And they got Christian McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel and daggone George. I'm so sick of the daggone 49ers.
But this is crazy to me because, you know, even with that, he still has a good core around him. So if you got the right receivers and the right people in place, you can be average and still make your team look good.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, Brian.
No lie. No.
Brian and the daggone Raiders. Like, bruh, let it go. Let it go.
No lie.
Chris says you can't trust the game in either of that. Yes, you can. And Dak has proved that this season. We are not playing from behind this season. We don't have to win the games in the fourth quarter anymore. We're playing starting in the first quarter. Maybe not the first drive all the time. I paid attention. Sometimes the first drive be a little fickle. But it's okay, because when we come back for the second drive, we in that thing. And we score, we moving the chains down the field. Get off my QB, Chris. All right, okay. And he said the running game is essential. Absolutely, it is. It is. Okay, Sadell, I'm sorry. Go ahead with your other sports news.
So, golly, there's so much to talk about. What time is it? Okay, so we got about 20 minutes.
Go ahead.
So what I really want to do is talk about this college football playoffs. Like, I am. He said, "Remember, Cooper Rush still won games."
And we acknowledge that. We love Cooper Rush.
Cooper Rush did what Jimmy G is doing. He managed the game and didn't trick it off for the most part. But so on college football playoffs, so much has happened. Like, it's been kind of crazy this past week because the rankings are all kind of out of place right now.
Yes.
And the other crazy thing is, as much as people hate it, Alabama is not all the way out. Alabama is not all the way out of the picture. And Michigan saw to it. Ohio State, everybody thought, oh, they're shoo-in. I don't know if you saw some of the memes that were going around. They were so funny. They were firing them up. And
to Michigan, who with their Ohio State rivalry, congrats, Michigan. Y'all needed that win.
They did.
But Sadell, so you're saying how does Alabama still make it to the college football playoffs? How?
So they're going to need a little bit of help. You know, they're gonna still need some help. But if TCU and USC both lose, first of all, TCU loses by a significant amount, and Kansas State has a decent chance in winning that game, then it'll get a little bit messy because, you know, they look at strength of schedule, they look at predictability, efficiency with the ball. And I'm saying Nick Saban made a good argument because Nick Saban is like, look, we lost 2 games. we lost to 2 top 10 teams, and we haven't gotten blown out. We lost in the last few minutes of the game. Mm-hmm. But when you think about the other teams in that top 5 who have lost the game, they lost by a significant amount. Alabama's 2 losses, I think, combined for maybe 4 total points. Like, they have been close in those games.
Losses.
Huh?
They still lost.
They still lost, but I'm saying those are the things that the committee looks at. Like, they look at those things. And so everybody's like, oh, God, I'm so sick of Alabama. But
I am.
And I know everybody is. But so right now they have an index, like the playoff index. Basically, the Tide is still ranked 4th. So they use a lot of different rankings, and they have the whole schedule, to be honest, has just been sloppy. But Ohio State, Tennessee, Penn State all have blowouts this year. Bama's only lost by 4 total points and on the road. And all the 2 teams they lost to are ranked in the top 10. So that's where he's trying to make his case. And you got to think about it. This is not just calculated. This is not just a mechanical thing. There are people involved on this committee. Yeah. And so the committee is going to look at their strength of schedule. The committee is going to look at how consistently they play. The committee is going to look at, and they get rewarded for that kind of stuff. And so it'll be interesting to see. Now, Georgia and Michigan, regardless of what happens on Saturday, are probably shoe-ins, which I don't think either of them will lose. But
Georgia or Michigan.
Those last two spots probably will be TCU, Ohio State, I'm guessing. USC strength of schedule is one of the weakest that's been in the playoffs. I mean, in the NCAA. And so I don't know.
Lincoln Riley
snuck himself in there, but if TCU happens to lose, and if USC happens to lose, there's going to be a strong case for Alabama. And I get, we don't need them in there. We don't.
No.
But it's not a matter of me being on the committee. I'm just saying that's how they look at it. And if you go and look at all of the rankings and the way they set it up, there's still a possibility that they can get in. And it'll be crazy because since they started the college football playoff rankings, the way they've been doing it now, they started that in 2014. And since that time, they haven't had a team in there with 2 losses.
Yeah.
So if that does happen, then that would be Alabama would be the first. So
the option for the 3 SEC teams are out.
Probably, yeah.
Okay. So Ant says if TCU or USC doesn't make it, the committee will put Ohio State in, which is crazy because Michigan just beat them. But this is the thing: if Michigan beat Ohio State and Ohio State was 3, they were either 2 or 3, and Michigan beat them. What does that mean? So he said if TCU doesn't make it, but if TCU still goes undefeated, would they still put Ohio State in there because of TCU, because of the conference?
If TCU wins and they change it, I mean, I think they may put Ohio State in over USC. But if TCU and USC lose, then I think Ohio State and Alabama are both going to move up, to be honest.
Okay.
USC already has 1 loss, and they haven't had a strong schedule. So if they lose, they're going to be out. Like, there's no question about that. They're not even going to consider them if USC loses. TCU is undefeated.
Right.
But when you talk about the efficiency, and again, it's people. So if TCU only loses, then it probably will be Ohio State. But if both of them happen to lose, Alabama still has a shot to get in it. And I know nobody wants to hear that.
No, we don't. Hey, Shivers. But no,
hey, Shivers.
like I no, because Nick Saban is the Bill Belichick. Like, you can't count him out.
And so that's also another thing too. I mean, my thing is, who is that? Wait, where did I just see that? Oh, Brian says, if you think it'll happen, let us never speak of Bama ever again.
Yes, Brian is a trip, girl.
But
why can't you pull for TCU? Like, go Texas.
Yeah, I agree. Go Texas.
For Texas, if Texas was up there, but
yeah, look, so it's going to be interesting. So we got to see how these games pan out on Saturday, and then wait for Tuesday and see what happens, because it's going to be crazy.
Oh, I can't wait. I'm looking forward to hearing what you have to say about the college football playoffs next week after we get all of these games in.
After we get all these games taken care of. I know. I went to SMU too, and I get that. However, we Texas, but Nick Saban. No, I don't know, man. I don't know that I agree that they won't win again. He's different.
He is different.
He's different.
Can he retire already?
Huh?
Can he retire?
I don't know that he will. I mean, you got to think about it. This dude has been in Alabama, I think maybe 16 years, and maybe twice they've missed the college football playoffs. I mean, that's crazy. It's a machine. Like it's a machine. And with him rallying for them to get the votes to get in, I'm telling you, if something miraculous happens, if USC loses, they're going to be done. But if TCU happens to lose, and K-State is definitely going to give them a game, and you can never tell. I mean, it's a playoff game, and so things happen. Yeah. People get up in different ways. Yeah. But if something miraculous happens, and that does, it's crazy, because it's like, after last week, it's like, are they trying to give them? Prior to last week, Alabama had no path back. Prior to last week, they were done. There was no way they could get back in. But
so Barron says Alabama's not getting them big recruits anymore. Just like will retire.
I will say they didn't get all the recruits this class of 2023. Texas picked up a lot of nice recruits. A&M TCU actually has been getting a lot of nice recruits. And Alabama hasn't gotten, as many as they had in the past, because it was automatic. Like, and even the kids that I know who were being recruited by Alabama, when they went, they were like, that facility is amazing. Mm-hmm. And he's basically telling them, hey, if you come here, you will go to the NFL. And he can pretty much make that claim. If you come and play, that's going to be. And so that's the thing that was kind of catching. But the thing, honestly, is when you have that NIL agreement and that NIL money that comes into play, Texas has a lot of money.
Yeah.
And so that comes,
USC is getting those recruits too, because
you have those schools that have, and I'm not saying Alabama doesn't have a lot of money. Texas has a lot of money, and Texas have a lot of alumni money. And so when you're talking about, hey, I can give a kid this, then start thinking, hey, I can still be a Longhorn and go to the NFL. And so I dislike. Yeah, he does. He makes fun. I dislike him.
Brian's a trip. Florida State blew the chance to sign Deion Sanders. That was a perfect job for him. But let me tell you, I love Deion Sanders at Jackson State. I love what he's doing for HBCUs. And I think this is him bringing money to HBCUs, him putting HBCUs in, like, on national television in these great games and
filling the stadium.
Yes, like college game day was there in Mississippi because of Deion Sanders.
Yeah.
Okay, so the fact that he's bringing all this money, this attention, the notoriety to HBCUs, for me, that can only mean that it will get better for HBCUs as far as the exposure with NCAA sports. And hopefully that will happen with more coaches, more big name coaches going to these HBCUs to coach, because that's what's happening. They're utilizing the fandom to bring in the notoriety, to bring in et cetera, et cetera. So I'm glad about it. Okay, I'm sorry, Sadell. We only got a few more minutes. Go ahead.
Okay. I guess the only thing we can talk about, what is going on with the Dallas Mavericks? It's like we can't win. We can't close out a game. We start off playing fast and we'll get a lead and we find a way to squander the lead every time. It's like we play and then we just kind of take our foot off the gas and kind of chill. Except and cannot close the game. Yeah. You know, we're missing a lot of shots that we should be making. And to be honest, our defense is a big part of the problem. Our defense is not where it needs to be. Huh?
The lack of defense.
Our defense is just not good. I don't know. Our defense is not where it needs to be. But man, it's just hard because we cannot close out games. And I feel bad for Luka because I'm like, I mean, it's like he doesn't have any help. So we were talking about Kemba Walker earlier. And my thing with Kemba is he's not the old Kemba, right? We don't know what we're going to get. We know that, you know, he's had injuries, but we do know that he can handle the ball.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that we just haven't really even had another ball handler. The other thing that he can handle the ball and he'll make it a little more fun. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. He'll do things that we haven't seen, like just to even make the games a little bit more exciting. I don't know. You know, some people are like, he's going to come in and save the season. I don't know. And I don't know that they expect him to come in and save the season. But I don't think he's going to make them worse. I feel like he's going to make them better and at least take some pressure off of Luka having to be the primary ball handler and the primary scorer. And then.
Oh, but don't you think Luka, like, first of all, Luka has the most triple doubles in the league, like, this season. Luka's doing what Luka has done throughout his career, but the Dallas Mavericks haven't put together like a solid core group. For instance, I do feel like we were more of a complete group last season when we had Jalen Brunson, but when we let him go, what did we do to replace him? Who do we have to replace that talent that Jalen Brunson gave to the the Knicks?
He went to the Knicks. Yeah, and that's the other crazy thing is when we did have Jalen Brunson, who could handle the ball, who could actually help us. I don't know why we waited so long to try and bring somebody else in. It's like I don't know. And because I remember they were recruiting Luka's uncle to come in and I just don't know what our backup plan was. And so it's like they looked at so many other people before they even started looking at Kemba Walker. So it's like he's a backup to a backup to a backup. You know what I'm saying? And they knew that this was something that we were going to need. Like we needed a competent ball handler. But, you know, and so I don't understand that part. I don't know why we waited so long to try and feel this. And I mean, Kemba Walker's like 32 years old and he has a bad knee. Like his left knee, he has arthritis in it. And they've said that like that helps him or that takes away his explosiveness. But they said he can still play with it. He just has to be, you know, up on his recovery and making sure he's doing things. But I don't know why we waited so long to try and fill that role. Like, I don't understand. That's probably the biggest thing. And because he's going to come out and help, but is he going to be getting separation from defenders? Is he going to be, you know, zipping around? He's not.
Why? Okay. Well, answer me this. Why is Christian Wood coming off the bench? Did we not get him in Dallas to start and be a significant factor? And why is he coming off the bench and doing what he's doing when he's coming off the bench and he's still on the bench? Like, why isn't he starting?
Honestly, I don't feel like Jason Kidd is sold on him. You know, I feel like maybe he feels like, you know, Christian is supposed to be our sixth man that is going to come in and give a lift.
Aren't we starting JaVale McGee?
JaVale McGee.
I know. But like, come on, G. Like, I don't understand that. It does not make sense to me. And like Ant said earlier, Luka could very well demand a trade after this season.
Yeah, that's probably my biggest concern, because if I'm Luka, I'm very frustrated. Like, you're not giving me anything to work with. And I mean, and there's something to be said about his stats looking the way they look. But when you're playing this game, you want to win. You're not playing just for stats. Stats help, great, whatever. But you want to be able to win. And they're not really putting him in a position to be successful. I do feel like maybe if they left Wood in a little more and a little longer with that first group, because that's what happens. I mean, he doesn't get him much time. Like the other night, they took out Hardaway Jr. and left him in, but they still didn't close it out. But that group of guys hadn't really played together the whole season. I mean, they played, I think they were saying they've only played together 12 minutes.
Yeah.
But Jason Kidd, even in that interview, was saying playing Wood in the losing lineup didn't work, but he wasn't the only problem. But it makes it seem like, he doesn't want to put him in that lineup. Like he was just trying it, and I tried it and it didn't work, kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know what the whole story is behind that. But I do also feel like we're just not doing what we need to do. We can't defend, and we can't score. And then Luka, I know is tired of being like, it's on me. I didn't do what I was supposed to do. I didn't lead the team. It can't always be on him.
Yes. But see, De'Ara's saying Luka needs to learn how to make other guys better. Luka is 23. Okay, Luka is a young man trying to figure this out. Yes, he's been playing professionally for dang near 10 years. However, he is still a young man. Okay. It's not his responsibility to make these dang near veterans that's been playing much longer than he has here better. That is on Jason Kidd. And he's not a Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan was one of those players who made his teammates better. The people around him. But that's not Luka.
I mean, I do think Luka is going to have to get to that point. I don't know that I don't know that that Jason Kidd can do that. And who's it? It's always superstar's job. That's true. I mean, he is a superstar, and he is going to have to find a way. I think my thing, to be honest, is he makes the right plays. Like he passes the ball, he puts them in position to do what they're supposed to do. It just doesn't always work. The biggest thing to me is their defense is horrible. Like they can't defend grandma coming out the stands, and that is going to forever be a problem. We're never going to be able, even if we can score, if we can't stop anybody from scoring, we're not going to close out games the way we need to. So we're losing games by single digits in the last few minutes of the game when we've been up and leading. So that is a big problem. Brian says if Luka leaves Dallas, the Mavs will join the ranks of the Lakers and the Knicks. No lie.
Under no circumstances does the Dallas Mavericks need to let Luka walk. Period. Just like the Dallas Cowboys don't need to let Tony Pollard go either. So that's that. We do have to wrap this up. Hey, Tim. Hey, Jeffrey. Thank you guys for tuning in. Brian said Luka has the potential to be as good as Jordan. Star players should definitely make the rest of the team better. I'm not disputing that. I'm just saying this man is 23. Give him time to get that type of leadership skill development and then be able to pass that along to his teammates. Yeah, we do gotta get ready to go.
Oh yeah, thanks.
I do want to tell y'all real quick because I'm wearing my fantasy football legend shirt, one of them. In those sports chicks, I was at the bottom 3, but now your girl is in 4th place, and you only need 4 teams to make it to the playoffs. I just gotta win out for the rest of this the regular fantasy football.
Sound like you're in the same thing with USC and TCU. You better win, girl.
I gotta win out. I gotta win out so I can make it to the playoffs. And legit, Tom, who was in our league last season, him and a few other the guys that was in our league last season have made it their life's mission to make sure that Carlita Nicole does not win anything in fantasy this season. But it's cool, Tom, because I'm coming for you. I'm coming for you. He might win everything else today. Legit, he has the most points scored. We give prizes for the most points scored.
Right.
You get prizes for the biggest blowout. He just blew somebody out by 109 points. Thank you, Josh Jacobs, with 57 points in a daggone day. And then he also got most points scored, biggest blowout, and the pick'ems, our league pick'ems. He got that too. And you know what? He's number one in the league. He's me this year.
Right.
So it's all good. It's all good. I'm coming back. Ant has a league that I'm at the bottom of, but I still have a chance. I have to win out in his league. Don't have to win out in the other league that I'm commissioning because I'm number one. Ain't nobody catching up to me in that league and nothing. So
that don't even sound right. I'm the commissioner and that one ain't nobody catching up to me. Like that don't even sound right. It sound like you're doing some commission. It sound like you're doing commission stuff. The way you said it, just didn't sound right.
I'm definitely winning legally and legitly, and everybody just mad that I am winning. Like I can't help that. I'm a winner. That's why I have the fantasy football legend shirt. So Chris is over here hating because he's been talking mad smack because we're in the same league, in Ed's league. So and he's doing very well in that league. Whatever, Chris. Hey, Angie, thank you. She's congratulating me. Yes. Okay, we got to get out of here, y'all. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. This is so much fun. We missed y'all over the break. We'll be back next week.
We will. Thank you so much for tuning in. No one told you they love you this week. Just know that we love you and we appreciate you so much. And we'll see you next week.
See you guys.
Peace out.